What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John, and it's Mr. Ian Mills from Across the Park podcast here to talk news on the Blue Boys Network. We are still continuing to be sponsored by Flyers, so make sure you go over to the website and check them guys out. Get yourself booked in. The Roma game's fast approaching, and we will be there. I'm literally gonna jump straight over to you boys, to be honest. Adam has signed. It's official. We've got a second left back. Are you happy? Let's start with our guest, Mr. Ian Mills.
The manager said in his press conference in America, or one of his few press conferences, that it's a signing for the future. It's a young player with potential. That's not a bad backup player, is it? It's also not a player to overly get excited about. It's a hole in the squad that needed filling. But I don't think it didn't get me anywhere near as excited as the Fofana links did at the weekend. So whilst I'm pleased that we're plugging gaps, excitement for me, John, not quite there with this one.
Listen, I've been more excited in the past about signings that we've done. It was a part of the team, a part of the squad that did need strengthening, whether it be backup, whether it be a first choice. And listening to the manager's comments, I don't think he's going to come in as first choice. He's going to have to earn his place. But for me, again, I'm still feeling a bit deflated, as you can tell in the group that we've got, because it was a part in the squad. It was a gap that needed plugging. But for me, I think there's other gaps elsewhere in the team, elsewhere in the squad, that we probably could have concentrated more on and plugged before this left back position. Again, I'm like you now, Mills. You know, with your voice note, you said yesterday, it's a bit deflating, it's boring. This transfer window has become for Everton now, and it's the same lazy journalism rumours day in, day out with the same players. And you know, Jack Grealish has reared its head again. We're hearing there's 3 teams in for Douglas Luiz. I don't think we'll get Fofana. If we do, I'll show my arse in Oman Bargain's window. So, for me, it's still a bit still a bit of a mundane transfer window. And yeah, we have strengthened at left. Well, got backup for left back. We've brought a backing goalkeeper. We've got the striker. But please, God, bring us a fucking right winger.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, talking about Adam Aznou, 19 years old, pacey, skillful, looks a little bit like that in terms of his playing style, like that Aznou that's just left Wolves and signed for Manchester City. He's got a bit about him. So that left-hand side, whether it's in a year, 2 years, 3 years, as long as we manage to keep hold of Skilliman and Die, it looks like it'd be quite an exciting left-hand side of the pitch. I think you are right, John, and Millsy. That right-hand side of Everton stinks. That right-hand side of Everton absolutely stinks from the right back to the right midfielder. It's awful. And, you know, rumours are to be believed that Patterson is getting some interest from clubs abroad. I suspect that won't be a sale. I suspect it will be a loan.
That won't weaken us anymore, though, will it? Because he's shit.
The issue you have with this is if we need a backup left back, we almost need a backup right back if Patterson leaves, because I think we all know that Jake O'Brien is the first choice right back. But we've already seen in pre-season that we get a couple of injuries at centre half and we're stuffed at right back. And we were sending voice notes to each other in that second half. And we went from being so happy with a decent performance in that first half, playing decent football, to literally sitting there watching us getting ripped apart by Semenyo, who come on as a sub. So my concern is that right-hand side of the pitch. Nathan Patterson's been linked with a move away. We need a right back as much as we need a right winger.
When was the last time that any of us hand on heart, would say we were happy with our right-hand side.
Well,
Years
the
ago?
right backs needed addressing for years. As soon as Coleman hit 32,
When was the
I think
last
we were all saying,
right winger we had?
you're probably going back.
Chelsea's.
Yeah, well, yeah, an actual right winger. Yeah, I mean, there's been hybrid ones there. There's been players who played right for Everton. Arteta played there, Osman played there, James Rodriguez played there, but not natural wingers. But I think he's definitely right. The pair of you are saying that there hasn't been a natural right winger or a successor to Coleman on the books for a long time, and it's now rearing its head, isn't it? Where there's so many other areas of the team and the squad that need addressing, that these two areas have been there for a while.
Well, listen, it's catching up with us now, isn't it? You know, it's actually catching up with us now that Seamus Coleman is not getting any younger. He's picking injuries up. You'd be lucky to get double figures off Seamus Coleman games-wise next season. We know Patterson's not good enough. Jake O'Brien, let's be honest about it, wasn't brought into the club to be a right back. So now it's all fallen into place now of how short we really are on that right-hand side. Because even if Jake O'Brien does play right back for this season, as you're quite right with what you pointed out, Michael, a couple of injuries to centre halves, and Jake O'Brien's going to go back into the middle. Then if we don't bring a backup right back in and we keep Patterson, and then we're relying on Seamus Coleman as well, for me, it's a very, very weak part of the pitch of the squad. If we get injuries to key centre halves, that makes the right back position even worse than what it actually is, because Jake O'Brien's going to have to go there. And if the Menya and what we see in the other night is anything to go by, then whoever's playing in that position, if we have an injury for a long time, which affects that right-hand side, then whoever's playing there, mate, is going to be in for a fucking long season.
No, I said that, didn't I, on our voice notes you were talking about. If Everton go into September, October, and a Jared Bradford goes down, and then a Tarkowski maybe goes down for 1 or 2 games in that same period, we are so short. And you know what, John? It's not. I know you're saying it's a pressing area, and it is. It's not even the most pressing area.
Well, it's not. The right wing's the pressing area.
Exactly.
You know, for me, and I know Michael was quite open about us needing a central midfielder, and I see people on social media going, "We need a central midfielder. We need a central midfielder." I will say it until I'm blue in the face, and this is just my opinion. The next part of that squad that needs to be strengthened more than anywhere else is a fucking right winger. We've got no one there. We haven't got no one there. We've seen it. We've seen it all pre-season, whether it be Accrington Stanley, Blackburn, whether it be against Bournemouth the other night. We've seen it. In the 3 games we've played, there's absolutely nothing on that right-hand side. So for me, if we are going to spend a chunk of money out of the transfer kitty, it has to go there, even before the central midfield position for me. I'm not saying we've got enough quality in the central midfield, but I think we've got enough players at the club to just do a job. You know, they're not going to get bums on seats in the middle unless you play and die there. Tim, I know Millsy's got probably more of an opinion than me and Michael on Tim. James Garner, for me, is not good enough. Idrissa Garner guy is going to be another year older. So then you're looking then who's going to play that position. There is enough bodies there just to get us through. If we get an injury to, say, a Garner guy or a Tim or an Ndai for a week or 2, if it's a prolonged one, then you do struggle. But we have to strengthen on that right-hand side before anywhere else now.
What did you make of Moyes' comments in America when he come out and said that players, you know, we've tried to do business, but players have said no? Because a lot of those comments, if I'm being honest, have been almost radioactive on X. there's been a lot of Everton fans that are not happy with how open he has been. And he has actually, I'd argue he's been more open about new signings as well, because he was very open about Adam Aznou before we'd even signed him. He come out and was talking about him before he was an Everton player. So that's unlike Moyes. Why do you think he's doing that, John?
I think he's frustrated with the lack of transfer business because of the amount of players that we lost at the end of the season and the lack of quality that we have through the squad. And I've said on here, Michael, it's all right having the centre forward and a backup goalkeeper and a backup left back. But even if we add another 2 players to this current squad of real quality, I still think we only finish mid-table. I honestly think we finish about 12th with 2 more bits of real quality added. I think we need more than that. I think we need squad depth. I think Moyes is frustrated with the lack of transfer activity. I also seen people say this on social media. I don't know whether he should have said what he said, because you're going to get players who Everton are going after looking at them comments thinking, well, they're struggling to get quality over the line. Do I want to be part of that? But then on the flip side of that, I think it's out of frustration that he's being so honest with the fans.
He's pissed off. He's pissed off, isn't he? You can see it. We know that face. We know that face, that pissed off David Moyes' face, and it's out.
It was right at the beginning of the interview, wasn't it, Millsy, when he got asked the first question and he sort of looked away and you could see he was angry, couldn't you?
Do you remember on the leaving of Goodison on the pitch when they interviewed Moyes? Do you recall what he said?
Yeah.
And it was along the lines, I can't quote it, along the lines of, I hope the owners are watching this and they're willing to put some money in. So the last ball had been kicked and he was saying to the owners, sort this. And we're now, 4 games in to pre-season, 5 if you include the Port Vale game. And we haven't got enough. He's pissed off. You can see it. Jordan Pickford's interview on whatever publication it was on after the game, I think he mentioned 3 times in 6 minutes how he and his teammates need players. So from the top to the bottom of that squad, they all know that they need more, and it's for whatever reason it's not coming.
I've asked Michael this question, Millsy. Do you think with the amount of changes that have happened behind the scenes, the likes of Angus Kinnear, Cox apparently not being able to come till the end of the transfer window, obviously it's a different model that Everton have got now regards recruitment. The director of football title's gone. I don't think that upheaval and the changes that have happened in the background, that hasn't helped this transfer market, has it?
No, you almost want to, and look, I get this. I get why it didn't happen. But you'd almost need it to happen in January to get the ducks in a row and say to Thelwell, do you want to go 5 months early and we want to start planning? So on June 1st or June 30th, everything is ready. Now, probably a number of complications in doing that, but the ideal scenario would be that all this upheaval behind the scenes wasn't happening at the same time we needed to sign players. It can't be good.
Hasn't helped.
No.
So based on those things, and obviously the expectations that we all have, look, when I look at this situation, I'm annoyed. I give the club, in my mind, my own sort of agreed, Michael's not going to lose his shit until they get on the plane, blah, 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 blah. And then that didn't happen, and then Michael lost his shit. If the club come out and said, this is a difficult... If the club on the 2nd of September come out and say, look, this has been a difficult window for multiple reasons, and the reasons are things like the quality of player we were going for, the ambition, i.e. to go and get that player, etc. And if you are talking about the recruitment team, that's all changed as well, so that can cause a bit of delay. what number position will you two be happy with based on all of the external changes, and then potentially going into next summer in a better place where we can actually properly kick on?
Well, two things. Sorry.
What number is that league position? What league position are you two going to be happy with?
Well, two things I want to point out. First of all, I'm fully expecting the manager to come out at the end of the transfer window and go, we didn't get all our targets. It was a tough transfer window. We've heard it before. And in my opinion, we're going to hear it again. Whether that's down to the changes in the background, whether it's David Moyes and whether it's the recruitment team setting their bar too high. Because Moyes come out in his interview and said, we have chased a number of quality players and they've said no to us for the time being. Well, we, as Evertonians, we all want our club to set their bar high and chase top quality players. But you know, when you sit back and you have a look in hindsight, in reality, again, I'm going to say it again because I've said this when Millsy wasn't on the video. It hurts me to say it, but we're not attractive. We're not attractive to a Malik Fofana. We're not attractive to players like that. When them sort of players can go and play for the Champions League club, unless Douglas Luiz is sort of left on the scrap heap and no one really pushes for him, like Everton apparently are, we're too good for a Douglas Luiz. So I think Everton should have had two lots of transfer targets. Ones where we're going to take a punt and they might say, thanks, but no thanks. And then another list with a good quality of player compared to what we've got now. And you might have a chance of getting them. And I think what Everton have done early in the transfer window or from the 1st of July when practically for me it started, I think they've only had a list of top quality players. And I think that's where Moyes is getting his answer from. That we've had really good players knocking us back and saying no at this moment in time. So the answer to your other question, where do I think we will finish? I've changed my stance from my predictions video where I predicted 8th. I thought we'd go into the pre-season with more players in, go into the pre-season hitting the floor, hitting the deck running. I say Everton finish probably 14th this season.
What you're saying, Mike, is the first part of your question was how do we feel if we hear on September 2nd? Here's what they're going to say. They're saying it now. Not even at September 2nd, and they're saying it now. And I think there's a fine line, and I think I want to be quite clear. I can only speak for me. I don't speak for you two. There's a fine line in being pissed off at the situation or pissed off at Everton. I'm pissed off at the situation. I don't think Everton are mainly doing anything wrong. I think Everton going for Liam Delap, Fofana, Conceição. I like that. I like that. That's our first move in the window. Those positions that we go for such a level of player. Jack Grealish seems to be now back in play. Douglas Luiz, I don't know how in play that is because I personally think that if we were really in for him, it would be further down the line at this moment in time. So I want to make it clear that the whole situation is really frustrating. And I don't mind the fact that Everton have gone for the names they've gone to. The only thing I would say, and this is going up with what John just said, we've got to be quick with plan B. As soon as
we've got to have a backup.
Exactly. You've got to have your list. You've got to have 1, 2, and 3. And if one's not there, 2's there, then 3's there. And it can't be we're going to go to a pre-season camp where I ideally, as the manager, want to set Everton's team up to attack and defend and attack the season, defend the season, and I haven't got the players I want. So that is a criticism that we're not doing plan B quicker.
Yeah. There had to be a plan B. When you're going for big targets like Conceição, Douglas Luiz, Liam Delap, Fofana, if you don't get them players and you practically get a blunt no, then you need to have your next name on the list ready to approach. 100%. So I'm not pissed off with my football club as in Everton. I'm getting a bit pissed off with the process that we're following now.
So I've got a question for you both then. And again, I don't disagree with anything either of you have said. I 100% agree with that. So what is the level of player that we can go and sign? What is our plan B? Is it without causing meltdown here? Is it the Jack Harrisons of this world? Like, is that where we are?
I think we're better than the Jack Harrison level because we've seen for 2 years he hasn't done nothing to inspire us. He's done nothing to improve on that right-hand side. So I think we're better than that level. I think we need to chase targets between Jack Harrison and between a Malik Fofana. There's got to be players out there. Hand on heart, I don't know who they are, or I'll be part of Everton's recruitment team. I don't know who they are. We'll probably sign players that we haven't even been linked with. Now, I just want to talk about a Jack Grealish within the question you've just asked.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, when you look at the honours Jack Grealish has won since he's gone to Manchester City and how good he was at Aston Villa to get that move to Manchester City, I want to put Jack Grealish into the area of Everton should be chasing a Jack Grealish only for the simple fact that Jack Grealish needs a change of scenery. He needs an arm round the shoulder. He needs to be in a team that he will get noticed again to get picked for the England squad again. It's no good Jack Grealish moving to a better team than Everton where he's not the big fish because he may not get what he wants, and that's to be involved in the England squad again. So I think Jack Grealish is a level above Everton, but I could see why a Jack Grealish would say yes to Everton.
So we finished 13th last season. I watched your videos recently, and both of you have at times said 8th next season. So to answer your question, Mike, you're asking for Premier League footballers who can finish 8th in the league. That's where Everton's barometer is, and that's the teams like Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, Crystal Palace have got. So that's realistically the type of player that we can attract, and we want more. We don't want the same level of players that Crystal Palace and Fulham and Brentford have got.
They have better squads than us. I think Crystal Palace have got a better squad than us.
They do have better squads. You're absolutely right, but I don't think any of those teams have standout players where the bigger teams are hunting them. I mean, Alex Iwobi plays for Fulham.
We've got Eze who plays for Palace.
You've got Eze, so there's one out. Okay, Mateta. I'm not the biggest Mateta fan, but I'll take that. So again, we're clutching at a couple of players here from 4 or 5 teams. So the names aren't there, is what I'm trying to say. These names don't spring to mind. So Everton have got to be clever, and Everton have got to go back to basics and say, is there a player in the Championship who's young? Is there a player in someone's academy that we can bring in? Now, you hope that this new structure, maybe not this window, maybe it's too late now for this window to do that, but the future windows will be attacked by, okay, there's this player in this academy, there's this player who's just made his debut for the Championship team, but he's a prospect. And I think we have to go back to your Lescotts, your Baineses, your Tim Cahills, and I think that's where this window really ideally should be.
I was just going to bring that up because Michael's asked all the questions. I wanted to ask you two a question. Because obviously we've had some of these top targets, and David Moyes has said, they've bluntly said no. Let's be honest about it. They've said no. Do you think it will become apparent in this transfer window where you see David Moyes act like he did the first time around at Everton? Do you think he'll end up going down that route in this window? Or do you think he's still going to chase them top quality players and then in the next transfer windows come and sort of do the model he done the first time?
I think he's got to be honest, and I'm going to get hate in the comments for that. But we've got to measure our expectations here. Like Fofana and Grealish and Delap are fantastic to be linked with, and to have them on the pitch would be great. But realistically, we're at the bottom of the queue. Same for Douglas Luiz. We're at the bottom of the queue for these players. They're looking and going, is there anybody else? So I think realistically, you have got to go there, and I hope he does. To be honest, that's not me saying I hope that we don't get these great players, because of course I do. But if you're walking down a road, it's a dead end. Turn around, start again. you're going nowhere. You've got to now start thinking to yourself. I know you spoke about a couple of Championship players in the past. Hamer from Sheffield United, and I know you like Tom Fellows as well. And maybe they're the players that do need to come in this window. And maybe Everton don't have that star signing, but Everton do finish 8th with those players. And then you look at it, and that's going to be the most unpopular shout on this video. And I get it, because I don't like it myself. It's just realism.
Michael, what's your take on that?
It's to be honest, it's actually what I expected to happen when Moyes come in. I expected to go and sign Championship players and players we hadn't heard of, because that was the David Moyes of 11 years ago. You know, I remember signing Kevin Morales and not having a clue where we got him from. I think it might have been Olympiacos or somebody, paying £5.5 million, and he was brilliant. He was fantastic. Signing Tim Cahill from Millwall after a semi-final or a final with Man United, a brilliant signing. Arteta from Rangers. I'm expecting players who are almost on the scrap heap or are in the Championship to be the sort of players that Everton go for. And I do get where we talk about ambition and we talk about wanting to compete in Europe and finishing 8th. And at the start of the transfer window, I was very much in that camp. You know, I was very much blinded by, we've got a new stadium, we've got new owners, we've got this fantastic story that we can tell that we want to take Everton back to the good time and all that. But there's so many teams competing in Europe these days that you don't have to move to an Everton who's got a shiny new stadium and new owners. You can go and sign for Crystal Palace and have a chance at winning the Conference League. You can sign for Nottingham Forest, who had a great season last season with a team that was largely in a relegation battle the season before, and be competing for Champions League football literally the season after. They fell short, but you know, that really epitomises the job that Everton and David Moyes has got to do. He's got to find these gems like the Chris Woods, the Anthony Elangas, the Morgan Gibbs-Whites at the time, the Callum Hudson-Odois, and he's got to turn them into Champions League European footballers. And that's what he's got to do. And that's what I expected Moyes to do. We've maybe the sprinkling of, maybe a Jack Grealish, maybe someone like that, the sprinkling of someone like that. The name that sort of is stuck in my head the whole time during this transfer window is James McAtee. I'm absolutely convinced at this point Everton will go all out for him. He's got 1 year left on his deal, so it's an absolutely ludicrous signing at 30-odd million quid. But I just sit here and just think, I bet they do it. I bet they do it.
I just think it's to find them gems like Moyes did in his first stint at Everton. I think it's harder to do that now because there's that much money in the Premier League. As you quite right with what you point out, Michael, there's 8 European spots in the Premier League. Now, that's nearly half of the Premier League can finish in a European place. And I just think with there being that much money and prices being inflated for average players now, Chelsea aren't helping. Man United have done it. You know, Chelsea are just ruining it, in my opinion, for the amount of players. You know, Joe Felix is the 4th most player who's brought in the most transfer fees because he's moved to Saudi, because the club who's bought him, or the HIV or whatever it's called, is involved with Chelsea. So I just think, going back to what you were saying, Michael, I think I get it. And I'd love David Moyes to unearth some gems like he did in his first stint at Everton. But I think the way prices are inflated and and Everton not being attractive. You know, when David Moyes was at Everton the first time, I'd go as far as saying they were probably more attractive than what they are now. So it's hard to go out. I mean, I think Tom Fellows would be an ideal signer for Everton. I think it'd be a Moyes type player. Again, the same with James McAtee. Notts Forest have had a £25 million bid knockback for a player who hardly plays and has got 1 year left of his contract. So that just highlights what I'm saying. The prices for some players now is ridiculous. And I'll even go as far as saying, when it comes to Premier League signings, you don't get bargain basement signings anymore. You just don't. Ndye's probably a one-off with what we paid for him, and you can see his quality. But there's in no way, shape, or form can you unearth them gems for the prices that were paid in David Moyes' first stint as Everton football manager. Just don't think it happens now.
Another player I think Moyes might throw something at. And again, I've saw a lot of Everton fans on X talking about this negatively, is Josh Brownhill.
I'd have him.
He scored 14 goals, I think it was, in the Championship last season. And a lot of people are saying, no, he shouldn't, that's not where Everton should be, etc., etc., etc. But I could see Moyes going for a Josh Brownhill. I do. Millsy, what about you? What do you think?
I can see it, but I also think Everton are reading the room quite well at the moment. And I think if they brought him in now, albeit it might be the right thing to do, I think they'd be cautious in can you get a Louise or a Grealish in first. I can see it. I can also see Hayden Hackney from Borough. I think I can see Hayden Hackney thinking that we would be a step up, and he looks to be a good player. But yeah, the Brownhill one would be someone who, okay, I think is 14 or 18 times goal contributions in the Championship, which is good numbers. I also don't think he stood out that much in the Premier League, so I think he'd have to be a squad player. And what I will give Everton credit for is I do think they're reading the room quite well, the media and what certain things people are saying. And yeah, look, to answer I've answered a very short question, long-winded there. I can see it, but I don't see it now. I see it maybe once we've got a Grealish in or a Hayden Hackney in.
Is it Josh Brownhill a right winger?
No, central.
Central. Well, again, he's costing you nothing. So I'm with sort of Mills. He's costing you nothing. Is he the star signing? Is he the one who will come in and play week in, week out and lift this team? Probably not, but he's a free signing, so it's squad depth, isn't it?
Yeah, if he comes in as a dual signing with James McAtee, I think everyone will be happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay, last questions for both of you. All I want is a yes or a no. That's it. Okay. Mr. Ian Mills, we'll start with you. Okay. Will Everton sign the following players? Malik Fofana?
No.
Jack Grealish?
No.
Douglas Luiz?
No.
James McAtee?
No.
Jack Harrison?
Yes.
John Maguire? Will Everton sign Malik Fofana?
No.
Jack Grealish?
Yeah. Possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to be as blunt as Millsy.
I was told to be blunt.
It's yes or no, so it's yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay. James McAtee?
No.
Douglas Luiz?
No.
Jack Howson?
Yeah.
And how happy will you be, John, once that happens?
Let's put it this way. Thank fucking behind the goal next season, not on the wing.
It's your man, Sadiq. It's your man, Harrison.
Okay,
Oh dear. Right, look, guys, I think we'll leave it there. For anyone interested in my take on those 5 signings, I think Everton signed none of them. So there you go. I'll be both the negative and the positive one there, based on the fact I was the only one that said we wouldn't sign Jack Harrison. We will leave it there. We are still sponsored by Flyers. Make sure you go and check them out. They are fantastic, and they were really nice with what they did the other day for Freddie, inviting him in, giving him a booth and some food and some drinks, which was really, really nice. So thank you, Matt, and the team there at Flyers for your comments and your support. Right, we will be back. I mean, technically, we were probably meant to do a match preview tonight, but do you want to do a score prediction for? Is it West Ham? Is it West Ham we've got?
Play 11:30 p.m. tomorrow, which is Wednesday.
Yeah.
West
So,
Ham, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to do a match preview. So, what's the score prediction for West Ham? Mills, are you?
0-0.
2-0 West Ham. Jared Bowen and Paqueta against Everton. Okay, now.
There you go. There you go. I'm gonna go 1-0 the mighty Toughies.
I'm not staying up to watch it, so.
Can I just say something before you go? And I don't mean to end on a very serious note, but I know you guys are big on helping and talking. And I've noticed a few people on X today reached out. It's the 1 year anniversary of the three little girls in Southport who were cruelly taken away. So I just want to say I know you guys will be on board with this, but if anybody feels like they want to just have a chat about Everton and take their minds off things, we're all on X and we're all here.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, Mills, yeah, that's really well said. And yeah, absolutely spot on. If anyone does want to reach out to us, of course, we are here. Right, we will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you go on Across the Park podcast and go and check out their latest videos, which are coming.
Are they?
You know, they might end up with a new host at this rate, Millsy.
It's looking that way, mate. It's looking that way. Judgy's in one of his many holiday homes at the minute. So
there you go. Right, guys, we'll see you soon. Up the Toughies. Peace.